Hi everyone, in today's speed build I am doing a French style chateau, or at least my take on one. I did look at some reference images of different chateaus in France to get my inspiration for this, so I think that it turned out pretty well in the end. I wasn't going for complete like historical correctness or anything like that, but I did want to take that style and try to recreate it as much as possible while still having some creative freedom in the process. This build did take me quite a while, especially because I initially started building it the first time on a 30 by 20 size lot, but my computer the program, the Sims 4 program just like closed out on me in the middle of me building for some reason, and I completely forgot to save any of my progress, so I was really upset about that. But at the same time, I intended to move it to a bigger lot anyway, so I ended up building it on a 40 by 30 size lot, and it still was a little tight, honestly, but I didn't mind too much because personally I don't really care to do a whole lot of landscaping, but it just barely gave me enough room for what I knew I wanted to put in the yard. But yeah, so my computer or the program closed out. I didn't get to save it at all, so I ended up having to start from scratch and redo the whole build. I was an hour and a half into the build the first time, and I pretty much had the entire exterior done. So I just started on like the landscaping, and I was gonna go in and do the floor plan when the program closed, and I was so upset. But in a way it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because when I was recording like for that hour and a half, since I was still trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, it took me a lot longer, I guess, to do like the shell of the house. And I ended up making some changes when I went in to do it the second time for this build. I knew what wasn't working the first time, and I knew how to do it more quickly, so building the actual exterior on this build didn't take me as long as it did the first time around. So in that way it was kind of, a good thing that it happened, but it was still really stressful at the time. And also I wanted to ask, I don't know if anyone can answer this for me, but you see in the front how I have that like half circle kind of driveway. I created that using the terrain paint tool, and like at one point I stopped building, and I saved my progress and everything, and I had dinner with my family, and then when I came back to build again, that little driveway thing that I created was gone. Like it just disappeared, and I have no idea why. So if anyone can maybe tell me why the terrain paint sometimes disappears like that, I don't know. Because actually that even happened with my princess castle that I built a couple weeks ago. I did the landscaping and everything, and I used the terrain paint and created like a path like from the front to the back and everything like that. And when I saved the lot to my gallery and everything like that, it was fine. It looks great in the pictures, whatever. But then when I went in to actually play the game, like when because I made my own like princess sim, and I put her there so I could playtest that castle. And when I went in to go play the game, the terrain paint that I made in the build was all gone. And I was like, what the heck? So I had to like redo the terrain paint, when I was playing it, because I don't know, for some reason it didn't save it when I actually went into play. So I hope that hasn't caused any problems. I mean, if any of you have ever downloaded any of my lots that I saved to my gallery, can you let me know if the terrain paint is gone when you download it? Or I don't know. I was just like really concerned about that, because I use the terrain paint tool a lot in my landscaping, and I really feel like it adds to the like realism and just the overall look of whatever I'm going for any particular build. So I would be really upset if every time I take all this time to do it, it ends up not even saving it once you download it to play or whatever. So yeah, but if anyone knows anything about that, please let me know in the comments or something, and yeah, it's just been something that I've been meaning to ask people about, but I never really think about it. Anyways, back to this build. So like I said, I only built it on a 40 by 30 because I don't really like to do a whole lot of landscaping. And honestly, I didn't really want this house to be huge, even though I want it to be a chateau or whatever. And there were a lot of big ones, like the reference images I was looking at, they were, I mean, huge. But I don't really personally like to create really large builds because it takes me 5 ever to do something. But yeah, I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time on it, so I knew I wanted the house to be a little bit smaller, so that's why I didn't put it on a much bigger lot or anything like that. And even though it's not as big as some of the reference images I was looking at, it's still a pretty big house altogether. So if you notice in the floor plan, upstairs I made it could have been 5-bedroom, or it could have been like maybe 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms upstairs, but I only put 1 bathroom, and I only put technically 4 bedrooms, and then I have like a little study area you'll see later. But I made one of the bedrooms an office instead. So for this build, I'm going to be describing it as 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom. But it could always be, if you want to change it, you could always make it 4-bedroom, or change the study area to an extra bathroom off of one of the bedrooms or something, make it like a master. But yeah, so it's I furnished it for only 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. There's 1 bathroom downstairs that you'll see, and then just the one upstairs for everyone to use also. But anyways, as usual, when I go in and actually start decorating everything, I started with the kitchen. But normally I would make the kitchen match the rest of the house, but kind of touching on the historical aspect of this, kitchens, like especially like in the Victorian era and before then, kitchens weren't something that was considered like fancy, or what I mean, like it's not something like that's pretty much a modern concept that we have now of having a really nice big kitchen to entertain, because before that's where the servants would work, and they would, and the kitchen was usually like far away from the entertainment area, like the dining room and the living room, or sitting room or whatever they would call it. So it was usually like out of sight, because that's where the servants would be preparing the meals for the get-togethers or for the family or whatever. So touching on that, I kind of put the kitchen, or like I made the kitchen look a little bit older, like not necessarily old, but I wanted it to look a little bit more rustic, like it had been kind of upgraded over time, like with the modernization of things, and just for the convenience of, or the family, like when they are there. But at the same time, I still wanted it to have like a less important look than what modern kitchens are like. So and then you see that I have the doorway there at first leading from the kitchen, or leading from the dining room into the kitchen, but then I change it to a closed off door, like the front door. I put the same thing in the dining room to lead into the kitchen, because like I said, kitchens were usually closed off and away from the sight of guests and everything like that. So I ended up just putting a door there to be like a nod to a more classic type of chateau would have been, I guess. But again, not being completely historically accurate. And it might seem weird, there are 3 doors to get to the kitchen. There's the one through the dining room, there's one through like the I don't know what the heck you would call that. Like once you first walk in, and that like front area, like that whole, I don't know what am I trying to say? I don't know words today, I swear. But yeah, this whole area that I'm actually starting to furnish, there's a door that's symmetrical to the door to the bathroom. So so I just wanted to look really symmetrical in this whole would you call it what is that word? It's like with an F of for, oh my god, I cannot think, Jesus. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to look symmetrical in this area. And then there's also the extra like doorway to go to like that little back room behind the stairways, or behind the staircases. So there's like that little area to get to the back door that's behind the staircases, and I put a doorway from the kitchen to there because I wanted to be as if, you know, if they were making some kind of breakfast or lunch or something like that and they wanted to go out to the back, because at the very end of this video I put like a little seating area in the back, like kind of patio area, I guess you would call it. And so yeah, so there's 3 doors to get to the kitchen. It's kind of overkill, but whatever. And yeah, so in this front, oh my god, I cannot it's just gonna bother me that I don't know the freaking word for this, but in this front area of the home, when you first walk in, I had no idea really what to do with it. I just wanted it to look nice and fancy, and you know, kind of like with older furniture or decorations and things like that that just kind of never really changed over time. And honestly, I went for really a more old-fashioned look for most of this house. I wanted to appear as if it was, you know, something that's been in the family, and maybe like no more kids or anything live here. But it's like the last generation of the home, of the family that owns the home, and they, like, you know, care for the place and everything, and maybe have like family holidays at this you know, family chateau and things like that. So so I wanted to maintain the kind of more older appearance, and I used a lot of, you know, really ornate decorations and things like that. So yeah, you know, I was really trying to maintain that more old school look throughout the home, but again, it's not completely accurate. I mean, it's very limited furniture pieces and decorative items that I can use, you know, that's available in The Sims. So with trying to like look at images for references and stuff and then work with what is available inside the game, I think it ends up pretty, you know, like looking pretty all right. But I know it's probably, you know, like if you go and look at pictures and everything yourself, I don't want anyone like to come at me like, oh, you did this wrong, whatever. Like, I really tried as much as I could to kind of make it look like it was, you know, a little bit more accurate in its appearance, but while also kind of looking as if it's been slightly modernized throughout the years, you know what I'm saying? So, and actually here in the living room, at first I used a bunch of like really matchy furniture and stuff, but with the reference images I was looking at, there was a lot of times when the seating areas in the homes or in the chateaus, the French chateaus, a lot of times they had different pieces of furniture that didn't match, and a lot of them were actually pretty vibrantly colored and had really intricate like patterns and, you know, fabrics and everything. And I mean, it was beautiful though. I think especially in the more Rococo era, if you're not familiar with that time period, the Rococo style is like very frilly and ornate and, you know, very swirly, florally, like, you know, like the more fancy, prettier kind of decor. So I looked at a lot of images that had that kind of style very prominent in it, and I wish there were more things like that in The Sims that I could have used, but it was really hard for me to find things and to be satisfied with the way it was looking. Like here in the living room, oh my gosh, it took me forever to decide on any kind of rug. Like if you saw me, I changed I don't know how many times, and then I ended up just layering these 2 rugs to kind of you know, get it to a point where I thought it was okay enough. But, and then, you know, so here I have like all those matching pieces of furniture, but I go in later and I end up changing like almost all of those chairs. And also you see that I have very little like paintings on the wall in the living room at that time, but I went back in when I wasn't recording and I added a bunch of different like paintings and pictures and stuff to the wall, because there were so many reference images that I saw that had like walls just lined with different, you know, paintings, like portraits and images, and they were all different sizes and different colors of, you know, like, what are they called, the frames and everything. Because normally when I build homes, I try to like have all the different frames of things match in each room, you know, like the same wood tone or black or white or whatever. And but a lot of times in the pictures that I was looking at, they were just a bunch of different, like there was no kind of rhyme or reason to these images. You know, it was just like all these different paintings and portraits like slapped on a wall. So I go back in and I end up making, you know, of course I had to reuse and repeat a lot of the same things that are available in the game. I would just, you know, I would use like the same cluster of paintings and stuff, but I'd change the frame color if it was possible. So I go, you know, I ended up doing that like all over this house. I just put like a bunch of different of the paintings, like from the vampire, God, I can't even think of what it's called right now, whatever the vampire pack is called. And then from, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I know from the vampire pack for sure, and I can't even remember. Oh, and then the one from cats and dogs, like with the more like seafaring looking pictures or paintings or whatever. I use that. I use those also because they're really big too. So I love having like the big portraits and everything available in whatever packs. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I can't see it on the screen, it's too small right now, but yeah. But yeah, so you'll see when I change the couches, you can see how I have all those pictures all over the wall. But yeah, and then I go upstairs and I start decorating the top floor. And this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, like with the staircase being open to the second floor and everything like that, like how it's just that big space where you can see down. I've never done that before, and it took me a while to figure out how to do that without having like the floor missing at, oh my gosh, I can't even explain it, but it took me forever to freaking figure out how to do that, and I really like how it turned out. But at this point, honestly, in the build, I was getting so frustrated because it was taking me so long to do it. I want to say this was already like maybe 5 hours in, because I think it took me about 7.5 hours total to finish this build, like from start to finish. And I do the office first. So this is the bedroom. At first I was gonna make this a bedroom, but I changed it to an office, and because I figured it would be a good place, one, to have a computer, because I didn't give them a TV, and I thought it would be appropriate, like maybe for, you know, the person who still manages the property or something, like maybe this is the space where they use like to keep all of the business stuff in terms of managing the property and stuff like that. So and it's also kind of like I ended up putting like a bunch of the like diplomas and things like that, like I don't know what the heck they are, like all these different things from Discovery University. I just pretty much plastered whatever I could on the wall, because like I said, there were so many like things on the walls in the pictures I was looking at, and I just really wanted to kind of bring that type of look into this build. So that's what I ended up doing in there. And then I did the bathroom, and honestly, I don't know if I like the bathroom. I know it's probably like weird to say, but I did not know what to do with this bathroom. I mean, one, it's kind of a weird shape, yeah, whatever. But at the same time, I feel like the bathroom items that we have, they don't really range a whole lot in the style. And so apart from using like the clawfoot tub, like I feel like there's not really much, or you know, and I use like the really fancy looking toilet, but I feel like we don't really have a whole lot of things that could indicate any type of older fashioned bathroom. And so I was just, you know, like I just kind of put things that I thought looked nice together and kind of tried to work with the layout a little bit differently from what I usually do and stuff. And you know, I wanted to use that that little room divider thing to, It kind of like in Cinderella, like how she takes the bath behind that screen, or I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen Cinderella, you know, the cartoon. But yeah, I always loved that scene in the beginning when she would just go behind her, you know, her whatever it's called, the divider screen thing, and the birds showered her with the sponge and things like that. So I was kind of thinking of that when I created that bathroom upstairs. But anyways, the first bedroom I work on is kind of like a guest bedroom in a way. I at first almost made it a kid's bedroom, but I decided no, I don't want it to look like, I know it might sound bad to say, but I didn't want it to look tacky, like having kid stuff and everything there. I wanted it to look like a kind of regal place, you know what I mean? Like just very mature and just obviously more high class in a way. So I didn't want to ruin it with kid stuff. I know that I probably sound like a horrible person right now, but anyways. And then again for this bedroom, I kind of went with the same things, only I had that little dressing divide. I don't know what the heck they're called, Jesus. But yeah, that divider thing to hide them like while they're dressing and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't know if I really like the color choices I went for this second bedroom that I created, like having the purple and the blue. I mean, I was really trying to step out of my comfort zone, so that's why I didn't go with a more neutral look for that room. But then in this last bedroom, I really like the way this one came out. I knew I wanted to use another like bright color, but I ended up pairing it with like a beige color, so I feel like it really balances out in this bedroom. And yeah, so I did pretty much the exact same layout in this one. I just changed up the furniture pieces like I did in the blue and purple room. And I think that's the last thing I do before I go and I finish everything in the backyard to complete the video. Wait, do I do anything else inside? My gosh, I can't even remember now. Oh, and I did want to apologize. I'm so sorry if you can hear everything that's going on in the background. It's like 6:45 in the morning right now at the time of me doing this voiceover. I have not slept yet from the night before, and so my husband already left for work this morning, and you know, it's super early in the morning, people are going to work and everything, and dogs are barking outside and stuff, and I'm pretty sure you guys can probably hear some of that, and I'm so sorry, but I figured this would be a perfect time to try to do this voiceover because I'm awake and my kids are still sleeping and my dogs are sleeping, so at least they aren't barking in my face right now. But our fire or our smoke detector, whatever, is still making that hideous beeping sound outside, so I'm sorry if you can hear that too. But anyways, yeah, so I just for the backyard, I knew I wanted to put that kind of like shallow like pool fountain thing, you know, to kind of have it stretch across, kind of as a more just like a really neat water feature of the home. And then I kept pretty much majority of the actual landscaping to be very symmetrical and what's the word? There's a word I'm trying to think of. Symmetrical and more, oh my gosh, I thought of this word earlier, but for the life of me I can't think of it right now. I mean, like I said, I have not slept yet. It's been almost 24 hours since I slept, and my brain is not working right now, so I'm sorry. But yeah, so for the most part I kept, you know, it very clean, like the landscaping and stuff like that, and I really didn't know what to do in these like little side parts of the backyard, so I just kind of put things there to make it look a little bit interesting. I have a bench under the tree on one side, and then I have this like little statue thing and whatever on that side. But at the same time, like I kind of made some growth like underneath the big trees because I wanted to kind of look like the yard was super, you know, taken care of before, but over time they just kind of let it do its own little bit wild thing on the sides. So but anyways, the screenshots are coming up, so I really hope you enjoyed this build. Please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you have not yet already. I really appreciate any kind of support in building my channel, so I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!